Alright, so now that we are done with the Patriots, we now have the Bills for team-by-team analysis. And just like the previous, we're going to go by strengths, weaknesses, team needs, cap, and the targets. So, the strengths for the Bills, I put the coaching because they do have Rex Ryan. I still think that he's a pretty good coach. They do have their brother Rob Ryan, which is a really good because I think that Rob
good chemistry. You
exactly. Rob Ryan will probably excel at that defensive coordinator role because now he doesn't really need to be the defensive coordinator.
Especially when you think, last year expectations were Rex was going to come in, have a stellar defense after what you've seen from 2 years ago from the Bills. But, he came in and somehow, the offense was really the focal point of that team. The defense wasn't really...
The defense wasn't as good as
do you guys happen to know who their offensive coordinator is, or no?
I can look that up.
Yeah, but I think that having both Ryans is only going to be good. I mean, maybe they'll butt heads occasionally, but I feel like it'll be really good for them. And going back to your point about their defense, I was ready to draft their defense early. I thought they got a pretty decent special teams, and their defense is going to go sick. Their defensive line was insane. And their linebackers were pretty decent.
Their secondary,
and their secondary, which I was just about to say, was really good. I don't know why they kind of fell off.
So the coordinator is Greg Roman. And
Greg Roman,
yeah.
So also,
and he got it done with Sammy. He finally kind of got Sammy going with those. All I remember is these slants against Revis. They just had him.
Because Revis was 10 yards back. But
and
we won't get into that right now.
Whoever their general manager is, they did a great job too with the pickup of Tyrod Taylor. Who saw that coming?
Yeah,
I think
you pick up Tyrod Taylor.
Whalen?
I don't know. Either way, I mean, that was a big pickup. They were struggling at quarterback for years, and then, it was between Matt Castle.
Yeah.
It was between him,
E.J. Manuel,
and Tyrod Taylor. And Tyrod Taylor emerges. I mean, that's just a really great job.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor became a guy that you could depend on. He didn't throw that many. He didn't have a lot of turnovers.
But he was efficient.
He was efficient. He was a top 10 quarterback, and he had a good passer rating every single game. He was a top 10 quarterback.
This is what he would do. He'd throw for anywhere from 200 to 280 yards. He'd throw 2 touchdowns, 0 picks.
Yeah.
And maybe some occasionally one. And he'd have maybe a rushing touchdown thrown in there with an occasional pick.
He played smart.
He was a smart quarterback, and that's what the Bills needed. They don't need the Tom Brady because they don't have one. But
I mean, because they're a talented team again. But that quarterback that you need, you need a game manager. You need. You don't really need, like you said, a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning. You don't need an all-star quarterback. If you have a game manager who could win you games along with the rest of the talent that's on your team like the Bills have, I mean, that's really all you need. And it worked for them, but their defense just didn't click, which is why...
Also, the other team strengths that are put are O-line, because you can name
Richie Incognito, all of a sudden,
came out,
he became... They rated him on NFL.com the #1 guard in the NFL,
he
period.
was.
Yep.
And he played like it. He was huge for them. He was massive, especially for their run game. Which leads me to a question for you guys. I feel a certain way about this, but I'm going to let you guys go first. Is LeSean McCoy needed in Buffalo?
No.
You say no, what do you got?
I mean, behind him you have Carlos Williams. You have good guys.
And
Gillisley.
Yeah. And, they actually released Booby Dixon. But... I personally, I'm just wondering, he's injury prone. I feel like he just lost his step.
Suspended.
Yeah, and he just got suspended for what was it?
I don't think he got suspended yet.
No, he got arrested. Right?
Yeah, he got arrested.
And so, I feel like they don't need him. Carlos Williams came in and scored a touchdown every single game he played in as a second running back.
But, and as a rookie, that's insane.
Yeah, but he looked like he had something, and Gillisley just looked like he was a good backup just to fill that second role. And I feel like... Oh, go ahead.
What are you going to say?
Before we move on, I just wanted to say, it's important, if you think about it, it's good to have Carlos Williams, Gillisley, they're fine. But just the star power that LeSean McCoy, brings, it might not be stat. You don't see this in the stat sheet, but, he draws defenders into the box. It opens up the passing game. I mean, just the star power.
Yeah.
I just think it opens up the offensive playbook for them, which is why I think he is more important than most people would say with Carlos Williams and Gillisley. But I just think he actually is more important than you would think.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into the team weaknesses, just to say the team strengths, cornerback and linebackers, we all pretty much agree on that. The team weaknesses, Running back just because of LaShawn McCoy is arrested right now because
and Carlos Williams was injured.
Yeah.
That's the only problem.
So do you really think that going into
it's just a risky situation. The talent is there without a doubt.
I don't know if it's really a weakness. It's just it could turn into one.
It could turn into one easily.
Yep.
So the other thing is the D line, and I'm saying D line only because they have great players. You can name everyone on a D line, and you can make them like stars, and you can say that they're stars. They played terrible.
They did
absolutely terrible. They went from they went from first in sacks last year. They had like 57 to like 32nd. That doesn't happen just because of getting rid of players. The same players were there. They went from first to 32nd. That's
insane.
They
actually got better players, and people got better.
Exactly.
I feel like sometimes when your defensive line is too overpowered, sometimes people I don't know what happens. I don't even know how to describe it, but they just don't perform as well. Yeah. And I think one thing that really hurt them was Mario Williams played horrible last season.
He was unhappy in Buffalo.
Yeah, he was
just
a lot of people unhappy. Him.
Yeah,
Marcel Darius.
Yeah.
Marcel Darius was complaining a lot.
Yeah, and just because
they got Marcel Darius, Mario Williams, Kyle Williams,
Jerry Hughes.
The list goes on, and not even talking about the outside linebackers coming off the edge. So their line is phenomenal. It's just I don't know what happened to them.
They're amazing on paper, but I just don't know. Was it chemistry? Was it coaching? It's
probably coaching.
Like you said, they couldn't figure it out.
Because what's his name? Rex Ryan has never been known to be a pass rush, have pass rushing guys.
Yeah, he had run stopping.
Yeah.
Big defensive linemen, and the Bills did do good at defensive run stopping. It's just that the system that Rex Ryan has is to clog gaps. It's not to rush. It's to clog the gaps.
And that's the problem is that they had great pass rushers
and not great run stoppers.
They didn't have great run stoppers, so the system helped them out. But they're not truly run stoppers.
I have a question for you guys. Here's something to think about. Was the Kiko Alonso LaShawn McCoy trade worth it for either team? Did either team really get it good?
I think, to be honest, I think Buffalo
got the better end.
Did get the better end.
Yeah.
Because I never really heard Kiko Alonso. I think he got hurt actually.
I think he did get hurt for the Eagles for a while. He had some big plays, but altogether, LaShawn McCoy was a bigger part of.
Yeah, watch. I'll tell you right now. When he played for the Buffalo Bills, for the 16 games he played,
rookie season, right?
Yes.
Yep.
He had a combined 159 tackles, 87 total or solo, 72 assisted. He had 2 sacks, 4 passes defended, and 4 interceptions. He played 11 games with the Eagles, had 43 combined tackles, 30 total, 13 assisted, 1 pass defended, 1 interception. And 0 sacks and 0 forced fumbles for both seasons. So I don't know. I don't really know. I feel like if he's just stayed with the Bills, he wouldn't have had that season. So I think that the Bills would be okay right now, assuming they still drafted Carlos Williams, would still be okay without LaShawn McCoy. And if they kept Kiko Alonso playing at that level he was playing at, assuming he maintained that, because he would have been the same defense. You know what I mean? He would have got used to it. I think that would have been great for him.
Okay, so other than the D-line, team weaknesses, also the wide receiver position is a weakness outside of Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, outside of Sammy Watkins, definitely.
Absolutely. They just have nothing to help that poor
The
man.
only thing I
And
can
Percy
think of
Harvin, I don't know what's happened to him.
I think he might have
He got hurt obviously,
He got hurt, but
in general, he had so much potential and he was emerging, and then he got those injuries, and then just
he's always hurt. That's a problem with him. You can't really say you could ever bet on injuries happening to players because you never see them coming. But he truly, he just can't stay on the field. That's a true problem with him.
So, and the only other guy I can think of is Robert Woods, and he's okay.
Yeah, he wasn't too bad, but he's not really a number 2 receiver, which he was playing the role of.
Who'd you say? Sorry,
Robert Woods.
Robert Woods, yeah. He was
so, team needs also are the tight end and the wide receiver and the safety position.
Yeah, it was looking, speaking about tight ends, it was looking like he was going to do really good for Charles Clay, sorry. It was looking like he was going to do really good. But just out of nowhere at the end, he just started to like decline. He still did good. He was still manageable, but he just couldn't get it done really at the end. And I feel like he's still good. They still have tight end. They could still do it, but I don't know. I think he did. I think they just need to work on it maybe a little bit or find a better role for him. Maybe get him the ball more often because they were doing really good when he had the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and also another thing with the tight end position is that there's a couple like I forget his name. They had like a Chris Gregg. I think his name was. I think it was Gregg.
Yeah, he actually didn't play terrible.
He wasn't
bad, but
he's not starting quarterback. He's not
starting
quarterback. Starting tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So the other team is the wide receiver, which we went over, and the safety position is actually kind of interesting because I'm pretty sure their
They
safeties
have
are.
Bakari Rambo.
And I don't know the other. I'm actually gonna look him up.
I'm not sure what the other guy is. Yeah, but the problem with them is their cap situation, as we spoke about a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
They're negative roughly $4 million in the cap, which is the third worst in the NFL.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So they gotta.
And that's all from like the defensive line.
And problem with that, Richie Incognito is a free agent,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you could re-sign somebody that caliber being negative $4 million. in the cap.
Especially considering they used the franchise tag on their other offensive lineman, Cordy Glenn, and not him.
So that could possibly be saying something that he might be heading out.
Yeah, so
Buffalo.
the safeties on their team right now are Corey Graham, which I thought he was a cornerback. I don't
Yeah,
know why they have him at safety.
No, they
think they
switched
moved him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but either or, they probably need another safety if they can get one. It's not a big need. It's just like one.
How was the safety this year in the draft? Pretty decent.
The only guy I can think of is like this guy named Jeremy Cash and this other guy that might go first round from like Florida or Florida State.
Didn't Alabama have a good safety though?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't remember. I think
I
they might have
guess
been
I'm
last year.
thinking
I think it was Kaha Clinton.
No, I am, but I mean I know he was good, but I feel like they had somebody else. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody.
No, I don't think it's that deep this draft. I mean,
It's
there's
not
some
deep
decent
at all.
players, like a lot of positions in this draft besides like defensive line and cornerback. Like most positions in this draft are very top heavy. And then mid to late rounds, I mean, you're not going to get that much talent out of it. And I think the same is to be said with the safeties. So
Exactly. So now for the Bills, we basically like put the tight end, the wide receiver, and the safety position all in one because they don't have room to get any free agents. Like they just don't have any cap room. They need to make some cuts. Mario Williams probably helps them.
Yeah, honestly, losing a big name like that. It helped them more than it hurt them, I think, because their defensive line, as we said multiple times, is fantastic. They're going to be able to get the job done with or without him, so that's okay. That's a good loss. That'll bring up some cap for them, but...
So, basically, the things with the tight end, wide receiver, and safety, they need another tight end, because Charles Gill was terrible. Another wide receiver to complement Sammy Watkins, which they probably get that in the draft. Probably maybe first round, like a Corey Coleman or Michael Thomas. And then another safety. But as we said, their cap situation, they can't get anything done with that. They need to make a couple more cuts in order to get some.
And they got to be big name cuts. They can't relatively big.
Name cuts. I just looked it up, and Rex Ryan does run a 3-4 scheme, so they don't really need Darius, and they don't need Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
They could cut one of those.
That could definitely not Marcel. You got to get rid of Kyle because Kyle's older. But
the question is,
does
he have a heavy contract?
I believe.
If you look that up and just let me know.
Well, Marcel Darius was like very unhappy in Buffalo, so he might be welcome. He might be welcome to a cut. Yeah. I don't know if the Bills want to cut him, but he might be welcome to a cut.
Yeah, he's a very good player, but unhappy in Buffalo. I mean. Especially since you're negative $4 million.
Listen
you
to
need
this.
to make money.
Kyle Williams' base salary is $6 million right now.
Mm-hmm.
He had a signing bonus of $1.5 million, so his cap hit, it says, is $8 million.
They can get a lot.
And
of
that's just for 2016.
They get a lot of players.
That's what he's getting paid this year.
Yeah.
And they also have him next year getting paid $6,300,000 with another signing bonus of $1.5 million. And then he also has a roster bonus of $500,000. So if they cut him, that's a lot of cap that they save.
But then again, you would only have two like the big name guys on your defensive line. But if they want to do that because of 3-4, you don't really need two defensive tackles. That's fine. But yeah, so that's it for the Bills team by team analysis, and then for the final team by team analysis of the ACs, we're going to do the Dolphins.